Question: I was baptized as a child and took first Holy Communion in the Roman Catholic Church. Would I need to be baptized again if becoming Orthodox? Thank you. This is a major question, important question. Did you listen to the lecture tonight, my friend who asked that question? Did you listen to the lecture tonight? Did you remember go back to the part where we talk about circumcision and baptism? Listen again at what we're talking about there. How baptism is under attack today because it is so fundamental and crucial, right? As you all know, right? It's not a surprise to you. So we have this little pamphlet here that we produced. That's the first thing I want to just point out to you. It's called Born of Water and Spirit. Born of Water and Spirit. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. All right. And in this pamphlet, we basically go into the question of how should non-Orthodox Christians be received into the Orthodox Church? All right. So this is a pamphlet. If you want a quick answer, you can get the pamphlet, read it. And if you want a more involved answer, you want something that's very thorough and talks all about the history and the fathers and what they teach, then you're going to want to go and read this book on the reception of the heterodox into the Orthodox Church by the Orthodox Ethos, that's us, and published by Uncommon Press. And there you're going to find the whole history of the question of reception of those into the church. How does it happen? So the basic answer to your question is, were you baptized? Now you say to me, I was baptized. Let's think about that a minute. I was baptized as a child. Were you baptized as a child? What does baptism mean? What's the word mean? The word in Greek means to be immersed. Literally, it means to be plunged. It means to be immersed into the water. That's what the word means. So when we talk about baptism, we do not mean, and we never have meant, and there's no church father who's ever written that this is what it means. No church father, not one, has ever said baptism means sprinkling or pouring water over your forehead. Doesn't exist. Now you're going to say, well, wait a minute. I've read in the famous Didache, right? The old document that was found in the 19th century by Greeks in Asia Minor, where they talk about the possibility of there being a baptism that's not triple immersion. Okay, let's examine that, because that's always the next question. What do they say there? Well, they say, first of all, what we just said, immersion. They say, if you can't have it in living water, running water, then have it in water that's not living water. In other words, in a font, right? If you can't do it in the river, then do it in the font. Okay, so that's the first step. We're going from the Crivia, the exactitude. Oh, now we go there. They say, but if you can't get them in a font, immerse them in the font, then what do? You immerse them in another way. How do you immerse them? You pour over their whole body. You simulate the immersion. That's what that means in the Didache. It doesn't mean you pour over their head. It's clearly the same goal as achieved by pouring over their entire body 3 times, immersing their whole body in the water. That's called by economy. In other words, that's not the norm. That's not the rule. That's not the desired thing. It's only done when there's a necessity. We're forced to do it because of circumstances. We're in the desert or whatever, right? Or there's somebody who's totally ill and cannot get up from their bed, and then we douse them with big buckets of water, head to toe. That's how, and that's it. There's no other economy in the church. There's no other version that we can say, oh, and you can do this, this, and this. That idea was introduced very late and codified very late in the West. It was promoted by Thomas of Aquinas, and it was accepted in the Council of Trent and other places, and it was rejected by the Orthodox Church again and again and again since the Council of Trent as a departure from the apostolic teachings. In fact, there are apostolic canons which call for the defrocking of the priest who will immerse only once. So how much is it worse to immerse once or pour a little water over your forehead or sprinkle you? Obviously, it's even worse, right? I mean, in terms of the form, in terms of the type, in terms of the meaning, because why are we even doing this? Why are we even immersing people in water? Well, because that's the whole theology of the church that's on display. What do you mean, Father? This is the theology of the church. What? I don't see. Dying and rising. What are you doing in the baptismal font? You're dying and you're rising again. You're resurrecting. The crucifixion and the resurrection is happening to you spiritually. You're participating in that mystery. How does that show forth with water that's sprinkled over your head or poured over your forehead. It doesn't. It's a departure from the meaning and the form. And in fact, good Roman Catholic theologians post-Vatican II will have said the exact same thing, that this does not fulfill the theological presuppositions and the meaning of the very mystery. And so we as Orthodox do not depart from that. Now you say, well, Father, I know they're Orthodox who aren't doing that. That's true. They're Orthodox doing a lot of things that aren't the teaching of the Holy Fathers. Doesn't matter. I mean, that doesn't affect me, right? Does it? Should I do what they're not doing right? No, I don't think they should. I don't think anybody should follow bad examples, right? And that's clearly not what the fathers teach. So it's really irrelevant. You want to follow the saints. And it's very, very clear. Read the book, read the what is it, 400 page book and 700 footnotes. Again and again and again, the church says presupposition, triple immersion. That's what it means to be baptized. So there's so many struggles in the last 250 years to fight back. Not just, you might say, Father, this is very minor. This is very legalistic. We hear this kind of thing today. No, my friend, it's not. Just like it's not minor, all the other traditions that have come down to us that keep us on the straight and narrow path. How much more major is the very mystery of initiation in our life? So a long answer to your question, and there could be even much, much longer answer to your question if you want that, because I pointed you to where you can get that. But it's an important thing because it really is indicative of our age. It's indicative of the destruction in our age of the holy tradition among the heterodox. And we as Orthodox should not fall into that trap. It is a matter of salvation. We can't, knowing the truth, we cannot depart from it. It's even worse for us. If we know the truth and we say, doesn't matter, then we will pay the price spiritually. So the answer to your question is you need to be baptized. You were never baptized. You were never immersed. And you were certainly never immersed in the church, by the church. And that's what it means. What does baptism do? It brings you into the communion of the church. Do you believe the Orthodox Church is the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church? But then if you do, you want the one baptism of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, right? Or you might say, well, I still could think Catholicism's kind of the church. That's called ecumenism, actually. That's called the pan-heresy of ecumenism. We can't, and we don't confess two churches. We don't confess a church that's not holy. It's not Catholic. It's not apostolic. We don't confess that as the body of Christ. We don't have that belief in the church. We believe in one holy Catholic and apostolic church and one baptism that initiates us into that one mystery. And the mysteries and the mystery are inseparable. One and the same, inseparable. Christ given and giving himself in every mystery, every time in the church. And that's what it means to be initiated into the church. So when you are initiated into the church, you're baptized, chrismated, and communed. And that's how you enter the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Next.